How's it going, guys? Topic for today's video. Say thank you to the present moment. I want to tell you a fun, cool, little interesting story from when I was in Vancouver. So I started doing this thing called crit racing. And it is an organized event where a bunch of guys and a bunch of girls, we all get together and we race our bikes around these little circuits in the city. Now the circuits are usually about 1 kilometer to 1.5 kilometers, and it's blocked off from traffic, so it's relatively safe. So I started doing this, and the event that I was going to was called the World Tuesday Night Championships. And the idea with this event is that it alternated between 2 different circuits in Vancouver. So the first one was at the Glen Lyon Business Park, and the second one was at the University of British Columbia. So I attended the first race of the season. I attended. I didn't do so well because racing your bike is a little bit different than just going out and riding up a hill with your buddies. It's a little bit different. So there's a bit of a learning curve to it. So after the first race, I was kind of like, all right, I've learned a lot and I'm ready for the second race. So the following Tuesday. Now, I thought that it was going to be at UBC, which is what they talked about, right? Like it's that they're going to alternate between the 2 different courses. Now, what was even cooler about this is that Aaron, who was coming to visit me in Vancouver at that time, was able to actually go and see the race. So the next Tuesday comes around. Aaron and I are in downtown Vancouver. I asked my buddy Ted to come pick us up and take us to the race. And then he can watch the race, Aaron can see the race, I can race, and it's going to be a jolly good time. So we get to the race and we get to UBC and there's nobody there. There's not a soul there. And I'm just kind of like, what's going on here, right? There should be a crit race going on. So we end up going on the website, on the World Tuesday Night Championship website, and seeing that they update all the race information and all that kind of stuff on their Twitter feed. And I was like, okay. So what ended up happening is that they just, they couldn't get the UBC course. There was like something going on there. So they did the race at Glen Lyon. And I was like, oh man. So we didn't have enough time to drive from UBC to the business park to Glen Lyon. So I didn't get to race. And it was kind of a big bummer because we drove all the way out to UBC. Aaron couldn't see me race. Ted couldn't see me race. I couldn't race. So I was kind of feeling a little kind of bummed out, a little upset. And I was just kind of like, I was kind of pissed off, right? I was kind of pissed off. Ted comes up to me and he's like, Derek, he's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm not mad or anything. He's like, just say thank you. Say thank you to what is happening right now. And I'm like, all right, I'll just say thank you to it, right? Like why not? Just say thank you for this is happening in my life right now. I don't know why this is happening, but thank you. Now I could end the story right there. And you could be like, well, that wasn't very interesting. There wasn't really any kind of lessons learned there. It gets more interesting. So the following day, I was on Strava. And Strava is kind of like social media for runners and cyclists. And I had noticed that the guys who had attended the race at Glen Lyon had posted their Strava and had made mention of a big crash. And I was like, there's a big crash there? I'm like, that's weird. So I started asking them about it and what happened at the race last night. And they basically said that in the novice race, which is the category that I was in, I was in the novice category because it was my first year racing, and everybody has to start out in the novice category. So in the novice race, which is the race that I would have been in, at the end of the race, so the guys who are fighting for the win to cross the line first, there's a big crash. The crash, what ended up happening is that one guy kind of lost his line while he was sprinting and bumped another guy off the road, and the guy who went off the road ran into a light post. Like full on, he's probably going 40, 50 kilometers per hour, ran into a light post. He ended up breaking his femur in 2 places, apparently. And that was the race I was supposed to be in. And chances are, I would have been fighting for the win with those guys. So there might have been a good chance that I might have been in there and I might have been in that crash. But I wasn't at that race. So the lesson here is we don't always know the exact reason why certain things are happening in our life. The night before, we could have felt really bummed out and really upset and been like, oh, what the hell, man, this sucks. But we chose just to kind of be grateful for what was happening. Say thank you to the present moment. Even though it was something that we didn't want to happen, it was happening, but it was happening seemingly for a reason. Almost kind of like it was like fate. So there might be things that are happening in your life right now that you're like, I don't really want this to happen. This sucks. Like, I think like that as well. It's like, I don't want this to happen. Please go away. But when we learn to say thank you to what's happening in our life, things can start to change as well. And we don't know the reason why those events are happening in our life. Even though we may perceive them as being negative, they could potentially be very positive. So I hope that was a kind of an interesting, cool story. So when something bad is happening in your life, say you're going through a bad breakup, or something is like stolen from your life, something that you could perceive as being very bad and negative, say thank you. Allow it. Don't resist what's happening in your life. Say yes to it. Say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Peace out.